Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to Tease Time. I'm TJ. Thank you for tuning in once again. We're back with more. The van is going to get done eventually, but today, to contribute to getting the van done, it's wood cutting day. So today I plan on trying to at least get everything cut except for the countertops. So that way all I have to do is just assemble like the countertops, the closet, the linen closet side, the sink countertop, and all the like the kitchen countertops, and even like the bed bench, which I'm in the middle of right now. So I have wood, I got my delivery, I have everything I need except for countertops, but that'll be a later date. I'll probably save that for like after paint, I'm thinking. But today I just wanted to get into cutting, and today we have our Accu-Cut by Kreg. The reason why I went with the Accu-Cut is to cross my fingers that hopefully I can get a straight cut, because usually I have like Home Depot do like the rip cuts for like the long, like they're 8 feet long boards. So like they could get a better cut than I would be able to just cutting on the ground, just trying to eyeball it. So they can't go as low as I believe it's like a foot, or 12 inches is like the shortest that they could cut. So I need pieces shorter than that, so I just went ahead and just bought the Accu-Cut. I bought two packages so that way I could cut like the full 8 foot, because each one could do up to like 50 inches. So I got two, so that way I'll be able to cut like a full long rip, an 8 foot long board. So like right now I'm just gonna go into setting it up, and we're gonna test it out to see how it goes. So this is kind of be like a test and review of the Accu-Cut by Kreg to see if we can actually get like a good cut. And in addition to that, I bought some clamps that should mount into the channels on the bottom of the boards, just to keep it in place. Even though they say you don't need any clamps, you should just be able to like set it on the boards and it should stay in place with the little black grip tape right here. So on like a board itself, like it feels like it's good. Like if you put like direct pressure on it, like as you're cutting it, it feels like it should be good. Like you probably won't need the clamps, but like it says for like if you're using like the single boards or like the full like 8 foot long length of the Accu-Cut, the rail, they said to try to put like a clamp at the beginning and the end. So we're gonna see, but then we have to worry about the thickness of the clamps and interference relationship with the ground. But like when I am cutting this, I'm gonna put everything on like a 2-inch foam. And excuse like the mess, we're getting there. That's my reality. But we have foam board down that's 2 inches thick that I'm gonna use to cut everything on, so that way you're not cutting into the ground. So you're not cutting into the ground, and it should give a little bit of gap, but like I might need to cut out like a little bit of space for these, because like they do sit like under the rail like so, then the clamps. So like I might have to just cut like a little gap out of the foam, just so we have like clearance. And then like it did rain and the ground is soft, so like if need be, if there's like extra like bolt protruding through like so, like that should be able to just press through into the ground. So right now we're just gonna get into like setting up. You need to have like a circular saw. This is like the adapter right there that this is supposed to mount to. So I need to play with this, get this mounted on. But like just make sure like you're safe. Disconnect your power before you're setting it up so you don't miss a finger. And be very safe when you're dealing with power tools. It's nice having all your limbs. But just to set it up, this will sit onto here. These will come out to hold the metal bracket down onto it, and then there's like little adjustments, like adjust like the side motion of the saw. And just the hard part is probably just going to be setting it up. Is going to be like the hard part, just to make sure we get like the measurements right, so we get our cuts. Even if you could cut straight, you just have to make sure that you get the lines set in the right place so you get like the right cut board. But to assemble this, let's get into it. You take these little rails that come in the package. They go into here like so. You use these little screws. They're I believe they're like a #1 Phillips screw, and just put these in, and then just make sure you have like a straight edge to make sure like the boards are aligned straight, and just assemble. So that's what I'm about to do now, just to put this all together and hopefully get it adjusted, and then we'll do like a test cut on like some scrap wood, just so you can kind of see like where our measurements, where I need to measure to get like the cut that I want. So let's get into it. It's cut day. It's like the least glamorous part of the job, the build, is just cutting. So I just want to get like all the cuts that I need, like the big cuts, everything situated. So all I have to do is just label them and then just assemble. And then like once I start assembling, should just start pumping out. So let's go, let's get this assembled and let's get this wood cut. Match up the arrows with the arrows and then assemble. All right, now that we have that assembled, I'm going to do the same for the other rail kit that I have here. I bought two because it's cheaper to just buy two kits rather than buying the expansion pack, where it can make the 8-foot cut, but like it doesn't. The only downfall with buying like the package how I did here, I don't have the additional little rails that will come with the expansion pack. So what I'm going to do on this kit, I'm going to just take the rails and I'm going to just cut them in half. So it's just going to be like one screw holding each side on. But just be mindful if you do that. Just if you do that, just make sure you get everything like lined up on the board, because like it probably just has a little bit more margin of error like doing it that way. But I don't need like perfect cuts. Like I can get in within like 1/16. Like I'm good. Like it's gonna be like for like the side cabinets and face frames will cover that, so it doesn't necessarily need to be perfect, but like it should be good. So right now I'm gonna just go ahead and try to attach the saw to this adapter right here, and with the adapter it sits on the rail, and then you just slide it and it cuts. And also I forgot to mention, it does come with like this end plate. This is the side that catches the lip of the plywood you're cutting with this right here. So that just pushes on. There's nothing really too strenuous about doing that. So right now we're just gonna play with the adapter. That's gonna be like the hard part, is just getting it lined up and just trying to do the test cuts to just see where I need to make my lines to get the cuts that I need. And then I also have my notebook here. I have like all the cuts and stuff that I need to make. So we have that, and yeah, so I'm gonna play with the bracket, try to get that lined up, and we are gonna get this going today. All right, I pulled out the tape measure just to get the blade as straight as possible in the jig. Like it's off just a little bit. Let's see if we get this angle. Just a little bit from one side to the other. It's like 2 1/8 on that side. Let's see what we got over here. A little bit over 2 1/8. So just a little bit. I'm gonna play with this a little bit more just to get it straight. But like I said before, just make sure you don't have the blade cutting the guides themselves. You want to have a little bit of a gap and then just adjust your measurements based off of that. But let me play with this more to get it set up. If you do set it up, probably should start off with like this screw first. That way you have your safety set up, so that way like it doesn't catch like on the jig itself. And then these two clamps right here just keep the saw in place. But like this is probably like the most important adjustment. And then right now, to get like my blade straight, I'm just gonna loosen these two and just play with it a little bit, just so I can get that a little bit straighter. And then once you start cutting, we're gonna do our test cut. You could set up your alignment. There's an alignment line right there. We can get all that set up. But like the most important part is just getting the saw in straight without it touching the jig. And then we'll go from there and see if we actually need to use clamps to cut this stuff, or if like the jig or the guides are good enough to stay in place by themselves. But let me keep going. Let me get this situated so we can get some test cuts going, get this really like dialed in. Once it's dialed in, then we should be good. We could just start cutting our wood. Like I have my measurements and stuff, so then it should be pretty quick. So like this video is just a test, you know, a review on the Accu-Cut. Like I was trying to avoid buying this. Like I saw it before, but I was like, if I'm at Home Depot, you could just have them do like some rip cuts for you if you have your measurements and stuff like that. Sometimes you charge you, sometimes it's free. It just depends on the person you get, but usually it's free. But let me get this set up and we can get this going. All right, it's test cut time. At this piece right here, I'm aiming for 10 1/4 right here. This piece I cut before. As you can see, like the line, the cut isn't like the straightest, but like it got the job done. It was within like spec. But like this ended up being like an extra scrap piece, but I'm gonna repurpose this for my bed bench. So I'm aiming for 10 1/4. The line's right there, the middle line. I'm aiming for the cut to be on there. So I just measured like 1/8 less than where I wanted the cut to line up the plate right here. So the saw blade should sit over from that, so it should match up to the cut that I need. But like if it doesn't work out on this, like I have more wood, so like I'm repurposing it already, so like if I mess up, it's really not that big of a deal. But just try to keep materials down to a minimum and just practice on some wood that you don't need. Don't go, I want to go straight into like an 8-foot cut. That will come up next. But I just wanted to test it out on this, and I do have like a clamp on the bottom on the one side, so that will hold it in place, and I just have to cut out the styrofoam. But for this side, I'm still gonna have to like adjust once it's down and just double check before you make your cut, because you can see it still can move, like unless I put a clamp on this side and just put it like further out. But if I put it further out, like the guide, the edge won't line up. So yeah, keep that in mind. But like I'll go outside, we're gonna get this cut, we're gonna get this test cut going, and we're gonna see how it goes. So yeah. Made a nice straight cut. All right, so I have to adjust. I'm gonna do 3/16 shy of my actual cut where I needed it. The first cut I just did was a 2/6 or 1/8 short, but like it wasn't quite there, so I'm just gonna adjust. I think like the 1/16 should be good enough off to make it like the cut that I need. But right now we're gonna even just test to see like how it'll splinter with like that little bit of a cut, because it's kind of like on the edge, so it might want to splinter. But we'll see. But like I'm pleased with like how the cut was. It's nice, it's clean, better than the cut that I did before. If you could see like that cut, that line right there, that was freehand versus like the cut with the actual guide. It's nice and smooth, it looks better, it's clean. So I'm pleased with that. But let's just see like how it does like with a little cut, see if it splinters at all. So even like with just cutting, like I tried to get like another 1/16 off, it didn't splinter. It actually like cut real nice and smooth. We got a little bit right here. So I'm gonna just test fit, but like I'm just gonna go ahead and keep cutting, and then I'll give you like my final thoughts on the jig or the guide set, the Accu-Cut. But right now, like I'm pretty pleased. Like the real test would be when I have to do like the 8-foot cut, and then like we'll have like a better test there. But like how it's cutting right now, it's cool. Like the only thing you just have to worry about is just the setup. I have the tool set up pretty much how I want it. Like I had to leave like a little bit of gap just to make that level, and just make sure it doesn't touch like the edge of the guide, so you don't eat that up. But yeah, like so right now, like I need to, like how I have my saw set up, each saw will be different. I need to make sure that it's like 3/16 short of the cut that I actually need. So I'm gonna just continue cutting, and then I'll give you like my final thoughts once I get done. But yeah, like so far so good. And bada boom, bada bing, it's finished, or I'm done cutting for this video anyway. I got like enough test cuts to actually have like a good review for the Accu-Cut with the jig. It's definitely worth the money. If you're thinking about buying it, buy it. It's definitely worth it. It's always good to have like the correct stuff to just make your life easier, and it definitely makes it easier, but then it also makes like the cuts like nice and professional. They're smooth, they're even, they're not janky or jagged. And I did like a bunch of cuts. Like all this stuff was like long rip cuts, the 8-foot long boards, and then I still have to do like shorter cuts. But like the real test is just trying to see how you could get like the long cuts. So like the most important part is just the initial setup. Like once you get everything like figured out, your angles and like how much you have to add or subtract from your measurement to get the cut where you want it. After that, it's easy. And definitely use a clamp on like the one end. I use it on the side that was furthest away from me, because there's enough overhang for me to get it like onto the board and get that tightened down so it doesn't move. And then on the other side, you just line it up. Just double check where you have your your marks, where you have everything lined up. And like if you have everything prepped correctly, you will have a nice cut. Like I had a couple cuts that were off by like a couple, let's say like 1/8, a little bit over that. But like I just reset, and it was able to like cut off just like a slither without even like chipping the board or making it like blow out or anything like that. So like it's even like nice for like just tiny cuts. So definitely, if you're looking to get, or you're thinking about getting the Accu-Cut by Kreg, definitely get it. I ordered like the 2 kits, and I put them together, and they work. Just be mindful of like banging it around. Like you can get it out of adjustment, but you can just reset it and it should be good. Yeah, so go buy it. If you're building, like all of this stuff is getting built out. We're getting there. And all this is just in preparation to get everything finished. I just want to get like cuts out of the way, so that way all I have to do is just assemble, just mark everything as I'm cutting it, so that way like I know what every piece goes where. It should be good. So I appreciate you checking me out. Thank you for all the subscribers, all the likes. If you're not subscribed, thank you for checking out the video. I appreciate it. So till next Wednesday, remember, having the right tool makes your life a whole lot easier. So definitely invest in tools that will make your life easier. It saves you time and effort. So I do appreciate you. Peace. TJ.